What's going on, everyone? Today we are diving into another flatbed company, and this company is McElroy Truck Lines. In this video, we're actually going to call a driver recruiter from McElroy Truck Lines to see what he has to say about the company. We're also going to do some online research by looking at their reviews as well as checking out their website and seeing if it matches up with what the recruiter had to say. And finally, we're going to take a look at some other drivers who have been with McElroy and see what their experience has been like. And at the end of the video, I'll answer the question, okay or no way, to tell you whether or not I, Trucker 219, would go to work for McElroy Truck Lines. Let's go.
McElroy Truck Lines Recruiting Department.
Hi, I was calling to see what you guys offer for new drivers. I'll be graduating CDL school at the end of next week.
Next week? Okay, cool. What we do here is we set our guys up through a new graduate training program. And of course, we're a flatbed company, so we cover the flatbed securement and the operations. So we primarily deal with like construction and building materials. So that's most of what we'll cover with you. And the way our training process is set up, it is a full 7 weeks. We have a location out in Alabama. We have one in North Carolina and Texas. And what it looks like is, you do get fully paid $750 every single week to go through it. The first week would just be like an orientation. The second week would be a securement training, which covers like the chaining, strapping, tarping, all the securement methods. And then after that second week, you'll have 4 full weeks of regional driver training with your mentor. And they'll pretty much just go over like I said, the ins and outs of the operations. You'll get a chance to pick up loads and deliver loads to our customers. And once you finish that up, if you pass that training successfully, we bring you back to get your personal truck. And the good thing about it is, we start everybody out at 55 cents per mile. So right now, guys that have actually made it through the training, they're doing anywhere from about $1,300 to $1,500 a week. And we're able to get you home every single weekend. So, it's definitely a good setup. It is flatbed work, so it is physically demanding. We do an agility test just to make sure you're physically fit and cut out for the job. And like I said, if you can get through that, you should be good to go.
Okay, and now would I have to live close to a terminal or anything to be able to get home every weekend, or is it you guys just operate
no.
all over?
Yeah, that's pretty much just how we operate. We only cover the southern states, so we go east about 35 to Texas, over to Florida, the Carolinas, anywhere in between. So if you live down south, you won't have any issues as far as getting home.
Okay. Yeah, I live in Tennessee, and I mean, I got some family up in Indiana and stuff too. Would it be an issue to get up there from time to time?
As far as how our freight works, we're not going to Indiana as much, but if you ever have any opportunities, I wouldn't see why you would turn that load down if they got you somewhere up that way.
Gotcha. Okay. And then you said it's 55 cents per mile. About how many miles are we running a week?
You're looking at about anywhere from 18 to 2,300 miles. It just varies, on the week.
Gotcha. And then as I'll be graduating school here soon, do you guys do any tuition reimbursement?
Yeah, we'll pay up to $6,000 of tuition reimbursement, as long as you have the proper documentation for us to set it up for you.
Okay, and then how is that paid out, like weekly or monthly?
So I think it actually starts like 30 days after you've been in the truck, and they'll pay out, I think, like $214 every month or so until it's fully paid up.
Okay. And then do you guys have cameras in your trucks?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure any major trucking company is gonna have trucks in there. It's gonna be it's gonna be the one facing the driver and the one facing outside.
Gotcha. And then you said it's flatbed, so is there any extra pay for tarping?
We don't tarp as much. 75 to 80% of our freight is already pre-tarp, but we just teach you that method.
Okay, so on the other 25% or whatever, is there any pay for it?
Like I said, it just depends on the customer who you go to. Like I said, with trucking, there's not one size fits all. You may go to Lowe's, they may pay tarp. You might go to Georgia Pacific, they might not have it. So it just depends on where you're going.
Okay. And then what are your guys' trucks governed at?
We're governed at 66 miles per hour.
Awesome. And then you said where are the training locations again?
We have one in Pleasant Hill, North Carolina. We have one in Cuba, Alabama, and we have another in Alabama, Texas.
Okay, and you said you mostly run southeast?
Yeah, that's all we run, the southeast region.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to check out a couple more companies and get back to you.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. All right, so we just got off the phone with the driver recruiter. He was saying that they do training, but only for those who have already gone through a CDL school and already have their CDL. So they are a training company, but they do not provide a CDL training course. And during that training, it's a 7-week course, and you're getting paid $750 a week to go through that. After that, you will be working at a rate of 55 cents per mile. He said on average, you will be making 18 to 2,300 miles per week. And with that, you will be home every weekend. So on that low end of 1,800 miles per week, you would have to make at least 360 miles per day to keep that average going for a 5-day work week. He did say that they do offer tuition reimbursement for those who have gone through CDL school, and they only accept drivers who have their CDL and have gone through a CDL school. And that tuition reimbursement is up to $6,000 paid out at $214 per month. He said that the drivers are averaging between $1,300 and $1,500 a week pre-tax. So we're going to go ahead and compare that to the amount of miles that he said per week and their cents per mile, which is 55 cents per mile. So let's go ahead and flip over to a calculator and take a look at that now. All right, so let's just do at the low end here, and we'll do the high end as well. 1,800 miles a week times 55 cents per mile is $990 per week. So that's at the low end of their average miles per week. Let's do their high end at 2,300 miles per week. Multiply that by 55 cents per mile, and you're about $1,260 pre-tax. Now, as I've said before, if you want to take taxes out, you multiply that by about 20% for taxes. It could be more, could be less, depending on where you're at. Take that, $253. Subtract that from $1,265, and you're looking to bring home around $1,012 after taxes on the high end. And let's do on the low end real quick. Subtract 198 from 990. You're looking at bringing home around $792 after taxes. Again, that 20% could be more or less depending on where you're located. So based off of the calculations of the cents per mile combined with the average miles per week of what they were saying $1,300 to $1,500 a week is what you're going to make pre-tax. And running those numbers, that does not line up. So this is why you always have to check. You always have to check and make sure that their average weekly is lining up with what they're saying the cents per mile is and your average miles per week. Now, there may be some other pay factors that I wasn't privy to, but their bottom line and their top line are just not lining up when we do the math. But we're going to do some online research to see what other information we can find out and see if they are worth going to work for. So we're going to take a look at their website here and see what's going on over here. Okay, so the first thing I notice is that they are offering a $2,000 sign-on bonus and get home every Friday. And I've noticed a lot of times with these flatbed companies, they are only working a Monday through Friday job and home for the weekends. Now, as a general rule from my experience, if you want to stay out longer and get more money out on the road, most companies don't have a problem with this. But if you go to work with McElroy, they're showing a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Now, a $2,000 sign-on bonus doesn't mean as soon as you get into your truck, you're going to get a $2,000 check. That's not how it works. As a general rule, they pay out that sign-on bonus over the course of a period of time, whether it be 6 months or a year. They're going to give you a little payout every so often. And honestly, I wish they would rename this as a retention bonus instead of a sign-on bonus, because it's a little misleading. You see a $2,000 sign-on bonus and you're like, okay, great. As soon as I sign on board, I'm getting $2,000. Awesome. It says no flatbed experience, get paid while you train. Got 12 months truck driving experience in the past year, but never driven on flatbed? Our fast track training program will get you trained and earning as a professional flatbed driver in just 3 short weeks. Our training will pay you $1,000 per week. Okay, so this $1,000 a week is for somebody who has 12 months or more of experience. Okay, we clicked over here on this Get Your CDL tab. So it doesn't look like McElroy has their own CDL training program. However, if we're scrolling down here, it looks like there's a nice big map of locations that you can go to, of which they hire out of. We got a bunch of locations in Georgia, a couple in Alabama, a few down here in Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Illinois, couple up here in Indiana and Chicago. So there's a bunch of locations all over the place, specifically on the East Coast. And when I did talk to the driver recruiter, he did say that they operate Southeast Regional. So this is indicative of a company that operates in this area. They're hiring out of schools in that general area. Okay, so let's see what their driver training program looks like. First seat program, experienced flatbed drivers. Okay, so if you have 12 months of experience, this should be a nice, quick, easy orientation, and then you're going to be getting into the truck, assuming you have a little bit of flatbed experience too. It says 1 week of orientation and evaluation paid at $1,000 for the week, or it says per week. For experienced flatbed drivers, must have 12 months flatbed experience in the last year. Okay, so they're wanting you to come straight from a previous flatbed company right onto this one, and this is the program that you're going to be in. This next program is a fast track program, over-the-road drivers without flatbed experience, okay? So it says 3 weeks of flatbed training paid at $1,000 a week. For experienced drivers without flatbed experience, learn every aspect of the flatbed industry, bumper to bumper, must have 12 months of verifiable over-the-road experience with a CMV in the last year. Okay, and then this next program is student drivers, recent CDL graduates. So they don't offer a training program, so if you've already gone through school, paid orientation and training at $750 a week, and that is what the driver recruiter did say as well. You're getting hotel, breakfast, lunch provided during orientation and yard training, hot lunch provided on the final week. I'm not sure what isn't hot lunch, maybe sandwiches or something like that. Home most weekends during driving training, and up to $6,000 tuition reimbursement. Now, everything from what the driver recruiter was saying is lining up with what they're showing over here on the website. So this tuition reimbursement of $6,000 isn't quite enough to cover all of your tuition, but if you're adding a little bit extra to it every month, you should be able to still pay it off. From talking to the driver recruiter, it's paid out at $214 a month. So let's pull up a calculator and see how long it would take to pay that off just solely on their tuition reimbursement. CDL schools can be expensive, and they cost anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000 to go through the program. So I understand the financial burden of that. Let's try to go right down the middle and say $8,000 for CDL school, just to give an average, divided by $214 a month. It's going to take you 37 months to pay that off, and then divide that by 12 months out of the year. And you're looking a little bit over 3 years if you exclusively just go off of their tuition reimbursement. So it's always a good idea, even if a company offers a tuition reimbursement, to go ahead and throw in some extra money to that and get that paid off as soon as possible so you don't have that hanging around your neck. So based off of their website, it is directly lining up with what the driver recruiter said. And I know that sounds like a surprise, and it kind of is, because there's several companies that I've done a deep dive on already that the information that they had online was not the same information that the driver recruiter was giving. It was almost like those driver recruiters had no idea what was going on within the company. So let's go ahead and take a look at some Google reviews based off of their location in Cuba, Alabama. So this first review a month ago is a 5-star review. It says, such a great family company, great training. I have great respect for the McElroy family and everyone there. They will take care of you and support you. Okay, we got a 2-star review here arguing about Christian morals and bringing up Bible verses and stuff. And McElroy actually responded to that. So it seems like McElroy is a Christian-based company. I'm not sure how much weight that holds for you, but that is something that they brag about. This 5-star review here says, I got a lot more for my buck when my family and I went to McElroy. They have the same values as me. Don't be afraid of the flatbed challenge. Okay, so this 5-star review 6 months ago, that's really, really new. I've been here for a few months now, and I can say I enjoy every day being on the road for McElroy. I appreciate my trainer for showing me the ropes and how to be safe. Although he made me a Love's hot dog addict, he's a very smart and nice guy, LOL. Yeah, that's pretty funny. You're definitely going to eat a lot of roller dogs, especially starting out. They're cheap, they're affordable, and they'll fill up your stomach. Okay, so this 1-star review from 2 months ago was a little bit hard to read, so I'm just going to go ahead and summarize it. Basically, he had come down with some sickness, had to go to the hospital, and he parked the truck outside of the hospital. McElroy towed the truck, put somebody else in it while he was in the hospital for over a week, and also he was complaining about some of the money on there. So not really a great review. It looks like if you're going to get sick, they might end up picking up your truck. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you. Not a great review though. Okay, so this 4-star review says close to 3.5 rating. Worked there for a little over 2 years. I made about $55,000 for the first year. No real major issues that you wouldn't find at any other company. just disagreements. They are a training company, so expect them to be up your ass about a lot of things. Some of the trainers I met were assholes, but were always at least actually teaching their trainees, which couldn't always be said at other companies. All in, they are a pretty good company. Okay, so it's a mixed bag on the reviews here on Google, which typically happens that I found looking at these reviews. 3.3 stars, so pretty much right down the middle. You see a bunch of 5 stars and a bunch of 1 stars and some in the middle here. But that's just based off of the Google reviews alone, and that kind of brings all the negativity towards them. So I kind of take the Google reviews with a grain of salt. I like to dig a little deeper and go onto other online platforms such as Reddit, and we're going to do that right now. Has anyone ever worked for McElroy, the flatbed company? I just got my CDL and don't want to pull dry van, and I am wondering if they are a good company to work for. They said they get you home every weekend. Can anyone confirm if they are good about that? Thank you. Okay, so this first comment says, LOL, home every weekend, don't count on it. Recruiters lie, be wary. Somebody replied to that and said, I'm home Friday between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. I leave on Sunday about 46 hours after I arrive home on Friday. I generally get home early on Friday and pick up early on Sunday. Okay, so another reply here says, what does the pay look like? This person says, depends. My 26-week average was about $12.50 after taxes. I only stayed with them for 6 months, and I got recruited to a smaller company making much more. It's a good starter company. Use them for that and get out after 6 months. Okay, so this person says, I've been with them for 6 months. So far, it's good. They are good people and have treated me fairly so far. Just like any other job, it really depends on your location. The Pleasant Hill yard doesn't have any chains or dunnage, so we don't have to handle any steel, which is nice. This reply says, I went to McElroy Orientation in Texas. The company seems pretty sturdy and the pay isn't bad. Their employees all seem fairly satisfied and never heard anyone complain that McElroy shorted them on anything. The terminal in Enos, Texas carries building products from the Lowe's warehouse there, and the warehouse loads are pre-tarps everything. Now and then you might have to tarp a load, but mostly it's all done for you. You might have to tuck and tie down the tarp that comes loose, and you'll have to remove the tarp and fold it and the ratchet straps so that the Lowe's store employees can unload it with a forklift. The trucks are international and Freightliners, a mix of manual and automatic. This was 5 years ago too, so keep that in mind as far as the automatic or manual. Most companies have switched to automatic. All that being said, I got dropped because of the agility test. They take you to a physical therapist and have you do an assortment of exercises, then measure your heart rate. If your heart rate goes over a maximum determined by your age, then they say you aren't eligible to hire. Some people were questioning that. I'm 45 and pretty chunky. I should probably go with Schneider. He responded and said, you would probably do okay. I'm 61, and if they use the same formula I've seen in other places, my maximum heart rate was probably something like 143. Okay, so it seems that if you're going to work with McElroy, they will expect you to perform an agility test, which is pretty important, especially if you're throwing tarps and straps and chains and all that fun stuff. It's definitely a physically demanding job. Now, I have personally ran flatbed for over a year in my trucking career, and I am not in the best shape. However, performing the task of lifting tarps and throwing straps and chains and all that, it's really not that big of a struggle. But now that I've been going to the gym more, I do know that my heart rate does indeed pretty much go over that 143 if I'm really highly exerting myself. Now, when I say I'm highly exerting myself, I'm running on an elliptical and I'm going full force. My heart rate does spike around the 143 mark. Now, if they're expecting people to go throw tarps and straps over loads and stuff and expecting that heart rate to get over 143, I don't think that that's as much physical exertion as what it is to run on an elliptical. But nevertheless, I think with pretty much any flatbed company, they're going to want you to perform some sort of agility test just to make sure that you can safely do the job without getting hurt or injured. And I mean, that's a safety precaution for them and for their insurance companies as well. But for this, I found a video about the agility test that they perform. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that to see what you would need to perform in order to work for these guys.
At McElroy headquarters, I do the agility testing here. You'll see me if you come to this location. I want to go through a couple of things that we're going to be doing during agility testing just so you can see what we're up to. To start with, I want to go through some of the things we're going to do for testing and why we do the testing that we do. One of the things we're going to look for is posture and techniques. Whenever you lift something, no matter how heavy it is, you do it the same way. You step up close to it. You get whatever it is between your feet if you can. If you can't, you just get as close to it as you can. All right, what I want to look for is, are you going to keep your chest up no matter what you're lifting and when you're putting it down? So chest up, head forward, squat, grab the box, stand up with it, do whatever it is we ask you to do, and when you sit it down, do the same thing. The tarp lift. I want to go through how I'm going to need you to lift the tarp and put it on the trailer, and I've got my friend DJ here to give us a hand. Come on over, DJ. So, the first thing I want you to do is decide what shoulder you want to put this tarp on. Doesn't matter, but I want that shoulder oriented towards the trailer. So you're going to put it on your right shoulder. So his right shoulder is oriented towards the trailer. The next thing I'm going to tell you is those tarps are held together by bungee cords. Never lift by the bungee cords. They're just there to hold the tarp together. The bungee cords are under a lot of tension, and if they give, they're going to take a piece of you with it. So the bungee cords are just there to hold the tarps together. So he's in his right position. He's standing wide base of support. All right, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is squat correctly. Stand the tarp up on end. Fantastic. All right, step forward to the tarp. You got it right in front of you. If we had bungee cords on that tarp, I'd ask you to find the hooks that are holding the bungee cords together. Turn the hooks to face away from you because you don't want to catch a hook in the eye or the ear when you're putting it up on your shoulder. Now,
okay, so I mean, it seems like they're looking at safety measures as far as making sure you're not blowing out your back, making sure that you're not catching a strap to the face. This is pretty common, and this is for a test. So you got to remember that realistically, if you're doing stuff out on the road, it's not always going to be the same as what they train you to do. You're going to go through your daily routine, and you can do things however you want when you're the sole operator of the truck. But while they're doing this testing, they want to make sure that they have given you the information just in case there is an injury. They can't say that they didn't teach you the right way to do it.
Got everything just right. Right shoulder next to the trailer, tarp in front of him. Now, I'm going to ask that you squat down, both feet on the floor. Right hand go up high, left hand go down low. Now, when you stand up, just throw that tarp up on your shoulder. Great. Now, get it up there. Fantastic. Now, keep this hand out front. The off-trailer hand stays out front. The trailer hand drops all the way down below the trailer and just roll it off on the trailer. That's how you put a tarp on a trailer. Now, to get it off, step to the side, get out of the way of that tarp. Roll it off, let it hit the ground. Great. You don't want to be in front of that tarp when it comes off the trailer.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, I did not do it that way when I was throwing tarps on the truck. I would pick them up by the bungees, and I would just squat and lift and then push it up onto the trailer. So this definitely seems like a much more safe way to do it. However, again, if you're going to do it on your own and you're out solo, do it however you want to do it. As far as passing their agility test, you want to do it the way they are telling you to do it, and you're on your own devices when you get out on your own. Now on this part, it seems like they're fixing to teach you how to get up onto the trailer, and it's definitely an important part of flatbed trucking is to be on the trailer. You have to tarp, chain, throw straps, and put up corner protectors and all this stuff that needs to be done on top of the trailer. Not everything can be done from the ground.
When you're boarding a trailer, you want to maintain 3 points of contact at all times. Hands, foot on the bottom. Now, when you go to get up on the deck, I want you to put your knee down first. All right, do that for me. Show me how it's done. All right, good, good. Now climb all the way up and stand up. Fantastic. Now, you'll come down same way, just in reverse. Come on down, knee down. Now look for your bottom step.
You mean to tell me it's a bad idea to just jump off the truck?
Reach, reach, reach. There you go, good. Now come on down. Good. You'll be required to do that twice. Okay, so you need to know also, we monitor your heart rate throughout the process. If your heart rate gets too high, I cannot pass you. That is a medical requirement. That number's around 200 beats a minute. If your heart rate gets that high with 3 minutes of activity, something's going on, you need to get checked out. Blood pressure is the same way. However, I'm gonna do blood pressure when you first come back. I'm gonna do blood pressure again after 3 minutes of activity. If your blood pressure is too high, can't pass you. It's nothing personal, it's just a medical requirement. One of the things I want to talk to you about is a 3-minute step test, and this is what you'll be doing before we monitor your blood pressure. We'll do it before this, and we'll do it again after it. So I want you to understand what we're going to be looking for here. 3-minute step test, it's a 12-inch step. You're going to step for 3 minutes to this cadence, 92 beats a minute. This is your cadence. When I say go, you're going to step to this cadence. Simple. I'm gonna stop you every minute and get your heart rate. After you do this for 3 minutes, I'm gonna give you a slight rest, and then I'm gonna monitor your blood pressure, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay, I wanna go through our musculoskeletal screening. To do that, I'm gonna invite my friend DJ in. Come on over, DJ. We're gonna go through what I'm going to look for first. All right, I want you to look all the way up, look down, look over your left shoulder, look over your right shoulder. Great. Arms all the way up, arms straight out in front of you. Hold them there, don't let me push them down. Hold them, good. Palms up, hold them. Now, elbows down by your side. I'm gonna push in, you resist me. Hold, good. I'm gonna push out, hold. I'm gonna push down, hold. Fantastic. Have a seat on that box right there. Right leg out and hold it up, hold, good. Toes back, hold. Now I'm gonna move your knee around, you relax your leg. Hold on, hold, relax, good. I'm just checking your knee to see if there's anything in there that shouldn't be, like wrenches or screwdrivers. Straighten that leg out, hold it, good. Toes back, hold it, fantastic. Relax, good. All right, put that down. Now I'm just gonna check your shoulder, relax your shoulder, good. And I would do that on the other side as well. That's the whole musculoskeletal screen.
Seems like they're doing a very basic agility test to make sure that your heart's not going to explode out of your chest, you're not broken in any way, you're going to be able to do the tasks that are needed to do a flatbed truck. But if you can't do any of these tasks, or you don't think that you would be able to, then this might not be the company for you, and you'll just move on to another company, and that's okay. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at some YouTube videos from people that have gone and worked with McElroy to see what their opinions of the company are. So this first video is coming from the YouTube channel Quick Fix Academy. If you want to check out the full video, I'll leave that in the description below, but we're going to take a look at it right now.
When it comes to McElroy truck line, the staff here is A1. Bruh, I have no complaints about the staff. None whatsoever. From the headquarters in Alabama to the terminal in Ennis, which is the terminal that I work at. No complaints. Everybody's been good. Everybody's been respectful. When it comes to the staff out there in Alabama, the week that I was out there, everybody was very respectful. They were helpful. They were down to earth, man. Everybody was down to earth. Everybody was just, you know what I mean, happy and excited that, you know, we were joining aboard, and, you know what I mean, we were willing to learn. They were just happy for us, you know what I mean? The same thing when it comes to the mechanics. All the mechanics was cool. Shout out to all the mechanics at Ennis. Super cool. They're my boys, man. They're my boys for real.
Yeah, it's really good to see that the company has a great morale with their drivers. That intertwined thing that goes on at trucking companies is really important. You know, a driver can be out on the road so far away from any terminal, away from anybody, and they need support. And to have good communication between drivers and dispatchers and drivers and mechanics, it's really an important thing that a lot of companies lack on.
When it comes to the terminal manager and the dispatch, one thing that I really like about this company is, bro, they not howling us every day, all day. Like, they not just blowing you up. Hey, where you at, man? You supposed to have been there already. Like, they're not on none of that. You know what I'm saying? They let you know what you need to do. They give you your load, and they trust that you're going to be responsible enough to get to the drop-off location in a timely manner and get unloaded and move on to the next load. So
that is so freaking important. It's not even funny. If you've ever worked for a company, or if you go to work for a company that doesn't have this, it can be such a pain in the butt. Getting phone calls, you can get one at 2 o'clock in the morning, you know, when you're in the middle of your REM sleep, waking you up. Hey, are you going to make it to your load on time? Like, dude, I'm in the middle of my 10-hour break. Leave me alone. Yes, I will get to it on time, but quit calling me. So word of advice to any new drivers, no matter what company you go for, if you're on your 10-hour break, I would put your phone on do not disturb, and I would instruct your family and people that you care about to make sure that they're always calling you twice so they can bypass that do not disturb. And I've always had a rule with my family and friends: if I don't answer the first time, there's something going on that I'm dealing with, I will call you back right away. If you are having an emergency or something that I need to respond to immediately, call me twice, back to back. If I don't answer the first time and it's something really important, call me right back. If not, I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I'm a truck driver. I have nothing but time to talk on the phone while I'm driving the truck. I'll be happy to talk to you for hours. But if I'm not answering the phone, there's a reason why, and I need you to respect that.
Let's get to the pay. The pay is good. Like, the pay is decent. You know, you'll be able to make an honest living with the pay at McElroy. So it's good pay. It's decent for the amount of work. And then you got to take into consideration the amount of work you do too. So I'm going to get on on that topic when I talk about the loads. And they both kind of intertwine, because if you're not delivering loads, then you're not getting paid. But at the same time, I'll break down the loads and stuff like that. And the next and final topic, which is the loads. And how many loads you're going to get. So, how McElroy works is you get weekends off. So, 9 times out of 10, you may take a load home on Friday. So you may pick up a load on Friday and then take it home, deliver it Monday. So if that's how your week is going, which 9 times out of 10, that's probably how it's going to go. Sometimes you go home empty. Like the past few weeks, I've been going home empty, and I've been picking up first thing Monday. So I'll leave out Sunday afternoon. I'll go to my pickup location, get there, do my 10-hour reset, wake up first thing in the morning, I get loaded, and then I start heading to my drop-off location, drop that off on Tuesday morning. If that's your schedule, then boom, you'll pick up Monday, drop off Tuesday. So that's 1. You pick up Tuesday, drop off Wednesday. That's 2. Pick up Wednesday, drop off Thursday. That's 3. Pick up Thursday, drop off Friday. That's 4. So you get around 4 loads. But if you take one home, then you get 5 loads. So on average, you get about 3 to 5. You may have weeks where you get 6 loads.
So it sounds like this guy is describing trucking. Nothing is perfectly consistent in trucking. It's just not the way it goes. Some weeks are great. Some weeks are terrible. Some weeks you might get 3 loads for the week, and other weeks you might get 6. It just all depends, and it's so up and down. So if you're a type of person that needs a guaranteed, I'm going to make this amount of money per week, then trucking might not be the job for you, because it just does not work like that. Like I said, some weeks are going to be fantastic. You're going to make a bunch of money and you're not going to know what to do with it. And then the next week after that, you might only have a half-week check, and that's just how it works. All right, so we're going to take a look at one other driver and see what he has to say about his experience at McElroy. And this one is coming from the YouTube channel Michael Hayes. And again, if you want to check that out, it'll be in the description below.
I usually get to where I got to deliver Monday morning by 8 o'clock at night on Sunday night, and then I get up Monday morning, and that's when I make my first delivery for the week. Once you send in your empty at final, you immediately get your next load, and you do that all week. And basically, like, I'm looking at my e-logs right now. I drove 426 miles today. I drove 390 yesterday, 366 the day before that, 302 the day before that. And that's usually about where I wind up day to day, anywhere from 350 miles to 500, somewhere along in there. On Friday morning, you're at a delivery wherever. They usually get you unloaded first thing. It can be as early as 4 o'clock in the morning, as late as 7 o'clock in the morning. Once you get unloaded, they will get you another load to pick up in the vicinity of where you are. And then you go pick that load up and you're going home for the week. Let's talk about pay. McElroy has a $700 minimum. So basically, if you only have one load that week, you would at least make $700, and that's not bring home. That's before taxes. That hasn't happened. The only time that has happened, and I was out sick for 2 weeks, and because I was sick with COVID, McElroy paid me for my 14 days that I was quarantined. They paid me 2 weeks. So after taxes and everything that come out, I think I made $475 just to sit at home and be sick. So that was pretty good. But that was only because I had the Rona. So
that's really good that a company is going to take care of you even when you're sitting at home sick. And having a $700 a week minimum, again, before taxes, is great. Just to have a little bit of a buffer. There was times when I started out in the trucking industry that I remember a couple of $50 checks. It does happen to where you get low checks like that, especially starting out in this industry. You'll take home time, and then you'll come out and do one load, and then you'll sit for a few days, and by the time your end of the week is up where your pay cuts off, you only got $50 worth of money coming in. So it's nice to see that they do have some sort of buffer there to where you're not going to make nothing.
Average paycheck for me is somewhere between $800 and $900 a week bring home. That's sometimes it's more, sometimes it's a little bit less. So if I had to average it out, it's probably $850 a week bring home. That's realistic, what you can expect. How long am I going to be here? I don't know. And it's not because anything against McElroy. It's just that sometimes I miss, a lot of times actually, all the time, I miss being at home, being at home with my wife, and I miss being able to tinker around in my garage. I like to do little projects and weld and stuff like that right there. And when your only day home is, excuse me, Saturday, it kind of limits what you can get done around the house. So if I do leave, it'll be for a job where I can be home, every day. But as far as working for McElroy, they've been pretty good to work for. I don't have any complaints. Anytime that I've had an issue, I've called my fleet manager, Bobby. He's super cool, and we always get it worked out. And that doesn't happen very often, as far as me having issue with something.
Sounds like overall he's had a pretty good experience with McElroy. He's home every weekend. He's a little disappointed. He wished he could be home more with his family, but this is trucking, and that happens. If you have a family and you want to become a truck driver, don't expect to be home every night, and even on the weekends for this driver, it's still not enough. And it is a very taxing job if you want to maintain a social life and life with your family. It's a tough life to live. There's no doubt about it. So he was saying that $850 a week is a realistic number to be expecting after taxes to come into your pocket. So now for the big question, okay or no way, would I, Trucker 219, go to work for McElroy Truck Lines? Well, first, I'd like to say some of the things I really actually appreciate out of McElroy Truck Lines. Number one, I do appreciate their training. It seems like they do a nice long 7-week training program, as well as make sure that you're physically fit to do the job. So overall, I think they have a decent training program. However, the downside to that is they don't offer any CDL training. They will not help you get your CDL. This means that you're going to have to go and get your CDL with a private institution. And I know for a lot of people that isn't quite feasible financially. I do know the private institutions do offer loans to help you get started in the industry. However, I know there's a lot of people that just can't quite swing that because of their credit. So if you're going to look for a company to get that CDL paid for and to deal with a contract, this isn't the company for you. Now, the tuition reimbursement seems to be pretty standard across the industry of those who offer tuition reimbursement. And they are offering to pay up to $6,000 at a rate of $214 a month. Now, there's a lot of companies that pay less per month, and in the long run, this ends up hurting you. That $214 a month is actually a really good number, and I think it's very fair to be paying that much out. But the downside to this is if you don't work for them for a little over 3 years, they're not going to fully compensate that $6,000. So it's very important that you also add to the total that's going into your tuition to get that covered and taken care of. This way it's not wrapped around your neck. Now, I do like that they have the option to get you home every weekend. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be home every weekend. You can go out and do other routes, and you can work more and make more money, but at least they have that option. So if home time is something that's really important to you, this might be a good company to look at. Now, they are paying really good cents per mile, but you're only working for 5 days. That limits the amount of miles that you can do. It's not like you're going to be able to take a load out of North Carolina and go all the way to Arizona with it. And this is a big reason why I encourage drivers to go ahead and stay out for a good period of time. You can get those nice long loads that you're just driving for 1,200 miles straight, and you don't have to worry about trying to get to the next pickup, the next drop off. But based off of the YouTube channel Michael Hayes, he did say that they have a minimum of $700 per week. So that means that if you aren't getting as many loads as you would like or as many miles as you would like, at least there's that bit of a buffer. It seems like their staff is really friendly and really helpful to try to make sure that you are making a good living, that you're getting a great start to your trucking career. I appreciate this a lot. I've had several dispatchers in the past that are rude and disrespectful and overall just have poor communication. And the only thing that we have as truck drivers tethering us back to the real world is that communication. So would I go to work for McElroy Truck Lines? Yeah, definitely. It seems like they're a good company overall to go with. However, McElroy is not for everyone. Number one, they only operate on the East Coast. So if you're on the West Coast anywhere, Arizona, Nevada, Oregon, places like that, McElroy isn't going to work for you. Also, if you are looking to get CDL training through a company in exchange for some sort of contract amount of time that you have to stick with them, McElroy does not offer CDL training. And I know for a lot of people this is going to be a big negative. And the final reason why McElroy might not be for you is the agility test. If you can't bend and stoop and lift, this is going to end up being a real problem and end up barring you from employment with them. But I understand why they do it. They want to keep their drivers safe and make sure they get home on the weekends and they don't end up injured at the end of their time with that company. So those are some factors to consider when you're looking at McElroy Truck Lines to go to work with. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Would you go to work for McElroy Truck Lines? And if you've ever worked for McElroy Truck Lines, leave a comment down below and let me know what your experience was with them. And if there's any other companies you want me to do a deep dive on, leave that down in the comments below as well. I really try to help you guys out with these videos and give you guys as much information as I can based off of my experience as a truck driver. I truly want want to see you guys succeed in the truck driving industry. I know it's a thankless job and it's a tough career to be in, but it's definitely an integral part of our economy and our society, and it's definitely a needed job. If this video or any of my other videos have helped you climb into a truck and get your career started as a truck driver, I want you to send me a picture and I'll put it up over here on this bulletin board and you'll be a part of the Cab Climb Club. And if you want to check out my other deep dives on a variety of companies, click the playlist right here. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right, bye.